Welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalist. I'm your worship associate, Michelle Firestone. Community Church is a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. We welcome all who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning. Ours is a faith in action as we do the work of social justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every being. Please look to your weekly email for announcements. We are delighted to welcome into our pulpit this morning, back into our pulpit. She hasn't been here since I've been here, but hasn't been up here since I've been here, but she's been a longtime member, Elyce Picciotti. The first time Elyce spoke from our pulpit about Magick was in 1998. A lot has happened since then. She and her kids moved to Florida to take care of her mom. She moved back to New Orleans after the storm and became a financial advisor. And she was CCUU president when we built this new church. At age 60, she had an off-the-wall opportunity to go back to school and earn her PhD in aging studies from Tulane University Medical School. She is now completing her dissertation on age-related hearing loss. And many of us over a certain age have gone through her, done her hearing testing program. And we have an announcement this morning from Sean, followed by some sharing from Jim.
This will be quick. Hi, everybody. This is our weekly update on the status of our annual pledge drive. So again, to repeat for those of you who don't know or may have forgotten, our annual pledge drive is what we do to secure giving from church members and friends to fund operations of the church for the upcoming year. So right now, we're gathering pledges to help keep the church going in 2026. Our goal this year, as shown over on this board, is $105,000, and I'm very happy to say we're almost there. Yeah, we're doing really well. We have $97,730 in pledges. So I'd say we're ahead of pace, which is awesome, and we've got less than 8,000 to go. So remember what I said last week? You know what would make my day or make my week or make my month? That we gather up that remaining $7,800 today, and then we can quit. Okay, so thanks everybody, and next we're going to have Jim O'Neill talk about why he supports the church.
Good morning. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my search for a spiritual community. It goes way back. I still remember the Latin words I memorized for beginning Mass as an altar boy. Intruibo ad altare Dei, ad Deum qui laetificat, juventutem meum. Translated. I will go to the altar of God, to God who gives joy to my youth. Yes, there was joy in feeling that my life was serving a divine purpose. Inspired by the man and the message of Jesus, but also guided by the divine feminine, symbolized in Jesus's mother, Mary. That desire for my life to be of service led me into the seminary and 8 years later, the priesthood. Along the way, I discovered that Holy Mother Church was not only not a mother, but was a patriarchal institution that treated women as second-class citizens, judged people as sinful for who they loved, and rigidly dictated both dogma and morals. When there was no joy in serving that institution, I left and married my best friend, Vera, and began our family. For some years, we found progressive Catholic communities to worship with, but eventually left because so much of that institution did not resemble the life of love and service that Jesus modeled. After we lost our home to Katrina and settled in Prairieville, I learned about a lecture by Matthew Fox at the Unitarian Church in Baton Rouge. I went, was welcomed by Steve Crump and invited back. We went the next Sunday for a wonderful jazz service, and I discovered a dear friend and colleague was a member who welcomed us. I knew pretty quickly I had at last found a spiritual home as a Unitarian Universalist. Why? Well, first, I could go down the list of 7 principles. I keep this on my desk. And say an enthusiastic yes to each. So if women wanted to be ministers, the answer was not, no, you can't. It was, yes, you can. If 2 persons of whatever race or sexual orientation loved each other and wanted to be married, the answer was, yes, you can. Secondly, I could review the sources of our living tradition and welcome all spiritual wisdom. So no matter your spiritual practices and beliefs, if you embrace love as your guide, are you welcome here? Yes, you are. Thirdly, and maybe most importantly, I found communities that lived out the principles and traditions. Communities that not only cared for each other, but were committed to serving their neighbors and fellow citizens of the earth. When we moved back to New Orleans area, we were welcomed by community church members, and Darcy Roque came to our house offering pastoral care. When Vera's dementia limited her, she was still welcome and embraced here. And when she could no longer come, Michelle came to visit. Reverend Jane provided pastoral care. And then Reverend Jacqueline led her funeral service, to which so many of you came, bringing your heartfelt love, condolences, and also a food train. In these difficult days with so much hatred and violence, when our very democracy is threatened, I feel grateful for belonging to this community that tries every day to bring love, justice, and peace to all. So now you know why I am happily pledging my resources to support our community and its mission of service to make ours a better world. I can't do it alone, but together, yes, we can.
I have a favorite poet. I did this a couple of times before here a long, long time ago. But the guy's name is Shel Silverstein. Anybody ever heard of him? Wrote Where the Sidewalk Ends. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire. For we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in.
It is our ritual to light a chalice invoking hope and eternal truth to our worship. Please join us in singing the words of chalice lighting. We light this flame, printed in your order of service.
Like this spring to offer the true and harvest and
So we have words for all ages. I understand there is actually one little one back there if she wants to listen. More Shel Silverstein, if you find the right page. There it is. Okay. There are a couple of these. Draw a crazy picture. Write a nutty poem. Sing a mumble-gumble song, whistle through your comb. Do a loony-gooey dance across the kitchen floor. Put something silly in the world that wasn't there before. Underneath my outside face, there's a face that none can see. A little less smiley, a little less sure, but a whole lot more like me. And my absolute favorite. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen well to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. I first read this when I was in high school. It meant a lot to me then. It means more to me now because times are dark. So this is the Bene Gesserit Litany Against Fear from Dune by Frank Herbert. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Now is our sacred time of joys and sorrows. If you're online, you may write your joys and sorrows in the comments section to be read aloud. In person, you may write them on one of the cards being passed around by our greeters, maybe. There we go, yeah. Please remain seated for hymn number 97, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child.
have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone.
Thank you. A joy from Gordon and Josie. Welcome back. We are glad to be back at church. Gordon has been improving a lot. We thank all of you who called, sent cards, and inquired about us. Special thanks to Liz Trotter for bringing news from us. Gordon and Josie. So glad you're back and doing well. This one has no name. A joy, my beautiful daughter who is blossoming into a lovely human being. A sorrow or multiple sorrows, the unwarranted loss of jobs and loss of life. And from Abigail, my joy is that almost a month after my birthday, my mother ordered me the Palestinian kafaya I've been wanting. My sorrow is that I'm continuously keep having nightmares. That's awful. We'll observe a moment of silence as we light 2 more candles, one for the joys still bubbling up, too new to share, and one for the sorrows that we cannot yet put into words. Know that we hold you in our hearts.
This is an abbreviated version of a much longer poem. The Wiccan Reed. Bide within the law you must, in perfect love. Try and not spit in the microphone. In perfect love and perfect trust. Live you must, and let to live. Fairly take, and fairly give. True in love ever be, lest thy love be false to thee. With a fool no season spend, nor be counted as their friend. Light of eye and soft of touch. Speak you little, listen much. Honor the old ones indeed, and name, let love and light be our guiding flames. When you have and hold a need, hearken not to others' greed. Heed ye flower, bush, and tree, and by the lady blessed be. Ever mind the rule of 3, what you send out comes back to thee. This lesson well thou must learn, ye only get what ye do earn. Follow this with mind and art, bright the cheeks and warm the heart. And merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. These 8 words the reed fulfill, and harm ye none, do what you will. The last time I talked to the worship committee, I was on it, about magic and doing magic from the pulpit. I remember Gordon Patton looking at me like I had grown 3 heads, and only 2.5 of them were even remotely functional. I think maybe you've changed your mind a little bit. We seem to have become good friends in the years since with a lot of mutual respect, and I appreciate that. I wanted to talk about magic then because I thought the times were getting a little dark. But we're fine now. A couple of bullet points to start. 1, magic, spelled with a CK, is to distinguish it from sleight of hand. The kind of magic I'm talking about has nothing to do with entertainment. It involves the intentional movement of natural energies to positive effect. Magic is natural, not supernatural. Nature is everything that exists, including humans, and everything humans make and do. Therefore, the terms unnatural and supernatural are essentially meaningless. Everything means everything. Magic denies the existence of evil. For what is evil but good tortured by its own hunger and thirst? It's Khalil Gibran. It acknowledges broken and damaged and ill. It does not shy away from the fact that people are capable of horrible things. But it sees evil as an artificial construct, defined by the moral values of the relevant community and subject to change. Energy released into the world will return to the source magnified, good or bad. So those who practice magic will go to enormous lengths to not put bad energy or negative energy out into the world. That's for our own protection. It's a bad idea. It always comes back. Knowing that I was going to give this talk and wanting to make it as relevant and useful as possible, I asked Charlotte Simonon a couple of weeks ago what she thought people were most afraid of today. Without missing a beat, she replied, loss of respect. It took me a minute or two to wrap my head around that. I had expected her to say losing our democracy or losing the rights that we've fought for so long and hard. You know, the easy answers that are on the lips of most liberals these days. Of course, Charlotte's answer would be more insightful than that, and upon retrospect, considerably more true. Respect is a big word. It covers a lot of territory. We enjoy being respected for our accomplishments, our social standing, our wealth, our beauty, our talent. We like it when people value our opinions. We like being proud of our origins and our progeny. John Adams once said, a desire to be observed, considered, esteemed, praised, beloved, and admired by his fellows is one of the earliest as well as the keenest dispositions discovered in the heart of man. That kind of respect often depends upon the quixotic values of the time. Our appearance and our capabilities change, and so too does the amount of deference those things afford us. Loss of that kind of respect is painful, is embarrassing, is not fatal. There is a deeper, much more fundamental kind of respect. Biologically, we are social animals. We have developed incredibly sophisticated communication skills specifically for that reason. To be in community means to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized as individuals whose unique needs and wants are no more or no less important than anyone else's. Respect for ourselves, respect for each other simply as human beings, and respect for truth are essential for peaceful coexistence and are foundational in building trust and understanding in relationships, be they interpersonal, communal, or global. Lately, there does seem to be a concerted effort to homogenize the population, to remove the outliers so that everybody who's left can be treated exactly the same. That effort will fail, but it is likely to do some damage between now and then. I remember not long ago when Iranian women wore Western clothes and went to work, and now they wear burqas and are told not to speak. So there are things out there to worry about. I'm not downplaying any of that. We want to take action against the onslaught of encroaching chaos, and it is important that we do so. This chaos threatens our very existence. But not everyone has money to donate, or energy to walk, or time and resources to volunteer. That does not mean you have no power to affect change. Recognizing your own power and agency is the foundation of self-respect and underpins any effort to have an impact on the world around us. So how do we engage that power? Well, that's why I want to talk about Magick. Magick is all about learning to change perspective. Consider a stereoscopic photograph. Have you seen those ones with all the dots that they tell you if you could unfocus your eyes, you can see something? I could never do it. I could never do it. And then I was in Houston, a friend of mine took me to a mall, and they were framed and they had glass on them. He stood me in front of it and he said, focus on your reflection in the glass. Voila, Albert Einstein. It took somebody explaining to me how to change my perspective. But as soon as I could, the image appeared. The image did not change. I did. I learned to look at it differently. And so I saw something that wasn't there before. We all operate within a common framework of presuppositions and shared assumptions, a global paradigm to which we become very attached. Much of that paradigm is taken on trust, informed by parents, teachers, philosophers, scientists, and our own experiences. It is colored by the state of our technology, our culture, the depth of our language, and the length of our lives. It is the nature of agreement bias that any new input we get is categorized such that it fits comfortably within that rational view of the universe, our prevailing paradigm. We make it fit even when it doesn't. Magick requires that we understand the limits of our current reality, our perception of our current reality. We don't actually know that our perception is accurate. In fact, we kind of know that it's not. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, to know means to perceive directly with the senses or mind, to have firmly secured in the mind or memory. Does that actually make something true? 1,000,000 years ago, Homo sapiens directly perceived with their senses, and they knew that fire was alive. Several thousand years ago, men knew that the earth was the center of the universe. Not long ago, men knew that the world was flat. Reality hasn't changed. As a species, our collective perception of reality has changed, as has our understanding of what it is that we perceive. Science cannot prove truth. Not because science is somehow flawed, but because that's not how science works. Science can disprove an absolute just by showing that there's an alternative, but you can't prove an absolute. That would mean taking every possible variable into account, and we just can't do that. There are potential variables that exist outside of our ability to perceive them. At best, We can only factor in every conceivable variable, and what we can conceive is shaped and filtered by what we know, what our senses relay to our brains, and what our brains do with that information. Our ability to perceive is prescribed by our senses, our language, our experience, our assumptions. Consider that human eyes can only process a tiny sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum. Animals can hear sounds that are many orders of magnitude higher and lower and farther away than we can. Birds respond to geomagnetic currents. We process reality in 4 dimensions. String theorists would tell us that there are at least 20. Our perceptions don't define reality. And despite the sometimes disdainful comments to the contrary, it is entirely possible for everyone to be wrong in how they see the world. Think of medicine before we knew about germs. People will fight viciously to defend an existing but outdated paradigm because it's comfortable or familiar, or because within that paradigm they have power that they might not have within another. I think maybe that's a lot of what's going on right now. Eventually, paradigms supported by assumptions that no longer maintain implode under the weight of overwhelming evidence. Ships did not fall off the ocean. Ta-da, the world is not flat. Reality always wins, but transitions are volatile times. There is enormous energy in the system. It's up to us what we do with that energy. So, what's a magic pebble? Is it an action? Is it a gesture? Is it a thought, a word, a dream, a song? How do we cast our pebbles into this great interconnected universe, and what ripples will we generate? So this adventure into getting my PhD, and yes, it kind of feels like I got accepted into Hogwarts because I'm learning stuff that is boggling my mind. All of the frailties that we experience in old age start with tiny, tiny, tiny little genetic transcription errors, and those start the moment our cells begin to divide. How important are little tiny things? Little tiny things are huge. You have to shift your perspective, look at them in the right time frame. But minuscule changes cause dramatic effects. And I have spent the past year or more measuring the electrical activity in people's brains, many of yours, thank you again very much, using sensors placed on the skull. Let me rephrase that. Electrical energy generated inside the brain can be physically measured outside the brain. How far outside the brain? Today, not far. But that is a technological limitation. Thoughts have substance. Intentionally thinking happy thoughts matters. Under the right circumstances, the brainwaves occur in discrete patterns, dictated by what we hear, what we think, what we feel, what we know, and what we subvocalize. Under the right circumstances, our brainwaves synchronize, not just within our own brains, but with other brains in proximity. That research is new. We don't know yet if there is a distance limiting factor on that kind of synchrony. Wouldn't it be fun if there weren't? Somebody asked me about music in the brain sometime. Our ability to affect magic requires that we be in physical community, not behind a screen or on the phone, but live and in person. I lost a page. Well, I think I might have lost a page, but we're going to go with it anyway. Starhawk is probably the best known practitioner of Wicca and paganism today, and this is from her. She said, "Magic is the art of changing consciousness at will. Art has to do with forms and structures, with images that can shift us out of the limitations imposed by our culture in a way that words alone cannot, with visions that hint of possibilities, of fulfillment not offered by the empty world. Will is action, directed energy, choices made not once but many times. Choices that lead to other choices, out of despair into action, risk, and hope. And we have reason to hope. The forces of destruction seem great, but against them we have the power to choose. Our human will, our imagination, our courage, our passion, our willingness to act and love. And we are not, in truth, strangers to this world. We are part of the circle. When we act with intention, when we create, express joy and love, when we heal, when we do what we are afraid to do, we are not separate. We are of the world and of each other, and the power within us is great, if not invincible. Though we can be hurt, we can heal. Though each one of us can be destroyed, within us is the power of renewal. There is still time to choose that power. There is always time to choose that power. Magic is available to everybody all the time. Make yourself available to it. I had a management professor when I was getting my MBA who would tell us to watch for blinding glimpses of the obvious. Because in those blinding glimpses, there is magic. Reality doesn't change. Our view of reality changes. And there is enormous power in that. If you are in a paradigm slightly ahead of everybody else's, you can see things nobody else can see. You can interact with them in ways that people might not consider natural, but of course it is natural. We can't control reality. Reality just is. But we all have the power to influence reality, not by moving mountains, but by small, simple acts of joy, love, and kindness in person and on purpose. And that's magic. Namaste.
Thank you, Elyce. You reminded me of that Neil deGrasse Tyson says, science doesn't care what you believe.
Reality doesn't either.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
I asked Nick if we could do something with this song as when he starts to play it. So Michelle is going to be offered. I asked, we're going to sing the song 3 times. First time, the way we normally sing it, it's a song that we all know. Second time, I'd like us to sing it very softly. Come up here a second. Second time through, I'd like us to sing it very softly with Nick still playing the piano. Third time through, I'd like Nick to stop playing and for everyone to sing as softly as they possibly can. I'm talking about brainwaves synchronizing. Watch what happens. Oh, number 391.
Yeah. Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a self-sustaining congregation. Members and friends' generosity help us do the sacred work of bringing justice, spirituality, and compassion to our community and beyond. You can give online, by text, or in person this morning. Please remain seated for our offertory hymn 391, Voice Still and Small. And again, 3 times, normal, softer, and then as soft as you can.
inside all, where you go, singing. In dark and gray, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Holy my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Still and small, deep inside all, where you go, singing. Even soft. Sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Holding my fears, quenching my tears, through all my years, singing.
Two little pieces to closing words. One is a meditation. I stand at the threshold of power where my will touches the world. May I remember to call, not to command, to ask, not to take, to honor, not to exploit. The flame burns and I respect its heat. The water flows, I respect its depth. The stone endures, I respect its patience. The wind moves, and I respect its freedom. And the last is for me. It's a little apology to Dr. Seuss, but it kind of encapsulates both my reaction to what's going on today and how to deal with it. I shall not watch the news today. I shall not read the news, I say. Today, I shall be kind and true. Today, I will be good to you. Namaste.
Please stand for our closing hymn, number 1021 in the teal hymnal, Lean on Me, and then remain standing for the chalice extinguishing.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have need, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I have to carry on, for you won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need tomorrow. No one can fill those are your needs that you won't learn. So lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for you won't be long that you can't carry. Right up the road, I'll show you if you just lean on me. When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. You won't be long till I'm gonna be somebody to lean on. Just don't want longer than you need a man. We all need somebody to lean on. I'm just not that one that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna be somebody to lean on.
Yeah, I love that one. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. May it guide your way until we are together again. Please join us for refreshments in the fellowship hall.